more. Welcome to the Social Angle Podcast.
So excited you're here, Ryan.
What's up, Melissa? Vincent, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how is it out there in Washington?
It is warm. It is beautiful weather. The Pacific Northwest does not have any fires yet, which is,
Fingers crossed,
so
right?
we're lucky. We're having a good summer. Everyone's social distancing, but you can get outside at least. And not too hot. A little hot, but not too bad. So
Yeah, it sounds like same out here in Pennsylvania. We've got, mid 80s this week. It's been really nice. So we'll take it. We've had a hot summer. But you know what? I'll take it. I love the heat. I love, this time of year. So
yeah, it's getting dark. I wake up really early in the morning, go running, and it's getting darker in the morning. So it's harder to wake up. And it's kind of sad. It reminds me that winter's around the corner.
Right. Well, we have a great topic today. It's benefits of being the face of your brand. So Ryan, to start, why don't you just introduce yourself, tell us about your businesses and how long you've been using social media.
So we started our business in 2004. I came from the music industry. Was in a punk rock band, played guitar, bass, guitar, recorded 3 or 4 albums, went on tour. Nothing huge, kind of medium sized with small record deals. Definitely not like Blink-182 like we wanted to be, but we made our own t-shirts. So that's how we got into the t-shirt space. And being in the punk rock scene, a lot of punk rockers want to know how to make their own t-shirts. So this is like in the first social media platforms, which were forums and AIM. And, luckily for AIM, I learned how to type really fast. And then what was the first one? Oh no,
MySpace.
MySpace, yes, MySpace, yes. Drawing a blank. So this is prior YouTube, prior Facebook, prior Instagram, prior all that stuff. And so we started the business then, really just e-commerce marketing, teaching other people, other bands, started out with other bands then other businesses how to print their own t-shirts. And so my first entrance into kind of this topic in social media itself was one of our customers. We made videos on how to screen print because screen printing is not a very easy process and pretty hard to learn. So I was like, first of all, I had my guy do it, but he wasn't very good, and so I was like, I can do this better. So I got behind a camera literally for 3 days straight, didn't change my clothes the entire time. And recorded this saga of how to screen print. It was it came in a 3 DVD set and you had to spend all day to watch it. And one of our customers put that on YouTube right when YouTube came out. So I started seeing all this traffic come from this YouTube. What's YouTube? Coming over to our website. And then it was like, wow, we can make videos on how to do this and kind of show some of the fun side of the process and our company and our customers. And so we started our own YouTube channel and I hired a video team pretty much out of the gate as soon as YouTube, kicked off in 2005, 2006, and been making video content as our main form of content, which is then distributed over all the different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that good stuff.
Wow.
I think I still have my own MySpace page somewhere as long as, I think a lot of people still have them and they're out there, but that's pretty fascinating because I think YouTube has really turned into the go-to place for how-to videos. And you it sounds like you were on the cutting edge of that.
Yeah, I learned everything on YouTube. I learned how to fix my lawnmower, how to fix my wall. I don't know how to fix anything. So I go to YouTube and figure it out, how to do video editing on YouTube. So it's a great place to learn.
How do you do podcasts? That's where we learned,
Yeah.
Everything is on YouTube. So there are many benefits of being the face of your brand. There's also some drawbacks. So can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to put yourself out there as a spokesperson of your brands?
Yeah, I really didn't have a choice because I was the guy that was comfortable doing it. And I thought the more we do it, I saw the benefit of that. And that was traction to our website, more people signing up for our products and services. And so I got really a lot more comfortable doing it it took about 2 years to really kind of get into your skin of, doing video work. And now it's just kind of a no-brainer. You just kind of go for it, So it's just like anything. It's like practicing music and whatever it might be. You have to get good at it. And it takes a lot of hours and investment into doing that, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think for me, it was just there was a need of our customer base, and I was, wanting to help solve that problem. If I can make one video that solved the problem for 1,000 people versus having a phone call or a conversation with one person, that was a lot better use of my time, I thought. So that's really why I decided to invest in it. And throughout the course of history, or our history, we have had a lot of other people start to contribute and help with that process as well.
So for your social media presence, when I was going through your profiles, I feel like obviously just from some of what you've shared, you're very vocal, you're very visible. And it sounds like it's been an organic process, but has some part of it been deliberate in crafting kind of your public persona and who you are on social media?
Yeah, I think it starts with like, how do you want your brand to interact? Some people are their brand. They're literally the face of their brand. Some people are the founder of their brand and kind of the sponsor of their brand. So I really started out like it was the brand. And so, but we're trying to transitioning more and more into more of the founder or the start of that brand. And that brand's growing up and changing, and more people are involved in it now. So the bigger that you get, the more important that becomes, because right at the beginning, like everyone would call up and ask for Ryan, like, hey, can I talk to Ryan? Like, oh, can I talk to Ryan? It's like, well, yeah, but we have 20 other people that answer the phone. And, he's like, well, you told me this. And I only told them that on a video. So it was like, you have to be carefully in setting up to make sure that you're not curtailed into only being you, and you're able to expand. A lot of other personalities that have done screen printing videos on how to screen print, they've tried to get into consumable supplies, and they've tried to, expand their business, and one thing or another kind of falls off. Either their business isn't able to grow, or they stop doing videos because they don't have time to do both. And so without the ability to be both the presence and the face, and or expand that and have a team network behind it, you're kind of curtailed into a much smaller space.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? You have to be able to delegate in your business. But I love the fact that you're, not afraid to get on camera and kind of be who you are. I feel like you're very authentic, and I feel like that is, the core of success on social media, is showing up as yourself. So it's also, can be a double-edged sword where you can be very visible, but you have to often deal with other people's opinions. So how do you stay confident, being so present online when kind of everybody has an opinion?
You got to first have a thick skin and can't take anything personal, because you'll really get beaten down, and it'll really get to you. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like, and you don't want to get in those arguments, because those can just curtail into, some really bad places. And realize that you are presenting your beliefs, but your beliefs are also a part of your brand. So you got to be a little bit careful into not, positioning your brand or your company into a hole and alienating a part of the, the market because you said the wrong thing, So I think it's important. And I have a little bit more freedom now to maybe say my own personal beliefs on my own personal channel versus, and then the company will say that they're a little bit more maybe politically correct belief or whatever it might be. So I think kind of this establishing a strategy between, as you start to somewhat separate, but then also influence for your brand, to be able to maybe say some of your own things a little bit more clearly than you might say through your brand's channel. But I think that, it is important for a brand to have, to make the values and what the brand believes somewhat, relevant to people. And you got to be authentic,
Right.
And if something does happen, you make mistakes. We've made some pretty bad mistakes on social media. We've had a couple things go viral in the wrong direction, where something will get hundreds and thousands of comments, negative comments, like really bad comments, and just getting on there and addressing it right away is the best way to turn that thing around. And so I'm not scared. I put my cell phone on social media. I put my email on social media, because I know that if something goes wrong and people see that I'm willing to do that and go that extra step, most people will say, oh, and I've never literally got like maybe one or two calls off of that, but it really quenches the fire down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Ryan. I don't know if you know, but I'm sort of the face of ASI's Twitter. So, I've, been that way since 2009. And the reason was we wanted to put, a face to the company. This is someone who does social media. This is somebody who can, really go out there, help you if you need it. But I also put my personal life out there as well. And, some of the things I've thought about over the years is like, do I want to be political? Do I want to be Michelle Bell? Michelle Bell has her own, Twitter account. She's very political, and I choose to stay out of that. I don't want to bring the brand down that road. Politics and religion, like they say, those two, I stay away from those. So, I know where you're coming from, there, I put myself out there, not as much as you obviously, but, I'm out there too. And I'm hyper aware of making mistakes, especially, with me attached to the brand. So it's something that people need to consider if they're going to be the face of the brand. How do they want to approach it? What do they want to put out there? Even putting pictures of your kids and your family, like that's always sort of been, in my mind when I do that on Twitter. But I'm like, you know what? Most of the people I interact with are people in this industry, and they know me. They've watched my kids grow up. So I'm comfortable with that. I've had issues with trolls. I've had people kind of call me out, but they've never called me out for my personal beliefs, which is, thankful. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, I think people are fairly forgiving, and I think it's important to make that decision because we have 3 different social media channels that we manage outside of, there's Ryanet, there's All Made Apparel, and there's another brand that we have in the equipment automation side called Rock US. And so like Mel runs our All Made Apparel page, and she is a founder of All Made Apparel, but not the CEO. And so she kind of puts her own flavor. She'll post pictures of her daughters, and stuff like that. But she is a little bit she's going to post a little bit differently, like you were saying, than I would on my personal channel.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And Facebook, especially, we've had some posts go viral for the wrong reasons too. And, we could talk offline, but, we've had some epic ones where we're just like, oh my God, this was before your time, Melissa, but some learning experience that you certainly take from those incidents. But I wanted to read to you a quote here that I really love. It's from a guy named Louis Rinsard. He's the account director of SBC London. He says, whether a startup or an established company, people don't just buy your products and services, they buy you and your core values. I love that quote because essentially you're selling yourself. So can you tell us a little bit about your core values for not only your business, but personally, and how you've integrated them into your social media?
So definitely a business is a reflection of its founders and its leadership. And I think core values are very, very important for both a person, but also their business, but they kind of take different stages. So my personal core value, really is based around growth and learning and improvement, which definitely lend itself into the All Made and the Ryanet core values. The Ryanet core values and All Made values are similar, but they're different. All Made is about openness, and it's about transparency, and it's about, inclusion, as well as making a great product for a cause. Ryanet's a little bit more about quality and integrity and continuous improvement and education and service. And so similar, but somewhat different. And so you see those brands' values kind of approach itself with like big issues. Like you had the Black Lives Matter movement, in the past few months, that you have 3 different brands. And then me personally, what does each one say? And everyone took a very, very different approach to that. And we were being called out on our social media channels because the screen print side of the industry is very not super inclusive and not very diverse. And so it was a pretty hot topic in our space. And so one channel decided to go out, and what All Made is, we donated 10,000 masks to Black Lives Matters movements to be able to raise money and awareness for equality, because that was one of our values. And the Ryanet side of the business didn't publicly do anything like that or even make any public statements because it didn't really align with any of its values, even though we did behind the scenes support screen printers that were doing those types of causes. And then I did my own thing and my own personal approach to it as well, which involved music and things like that. So it was 3 different approaches to the same topic based around those core values.
Yeah, that's a difficult decision. Like I remember when that all was happening, and then it seemed like all the brands were sort of under the radar, like, or not under the radar. They're under the gun. They had to make a statement. You know, there was that time when everything was happening, and you have to think about your customer base, and that must not have been an easy decision for you guys.
And I don't think each one handled it differently, and each one, the ones that said something didn't get any negative. It was more positive than negative for saying something. And I think that was good. The one that didn't say anything also didn't get any negative. So it was
Okay.
like,